Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimrandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilidam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Supatandigam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Udapatakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Saganarigunatham Vidam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadudam Parijana Saidam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vidam Sya Ye Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpade Gopesha Gopika Kanda Radha Kanda Namostude Tapta Kanjana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpadarubhesya Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patidanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Dinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prajarine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Dechatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vranda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namaha Hare Krishna Hari Om Tat Sat. So welcome all the devotees for today's Srimad Bhagavad Gita class.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Pranam Prabhuji.
Danda Pranam. Hare Krishna.
Pranam,
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Madhura Mataji. Pranam. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, text 11 onwards. Nahi deha brutha sakhyam tyaktum karmani aseshata yastu karma phalatyagi satyagi di abhidhiyate. Nahi deha brutha sakhyam tyaktum karmani aseshata yastu karma phalatyagi satyagi di abhidhiyate. Okay, Mayuri Mataji.
Oh, yeah, good.
Mayuri Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Nahi dehabhrata shakyam tyaktu karmani asheshatah yastu karma phalatyagi satyagi ityabhidhiyate.
Tarini Mataji, translation please.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandat pranams. It is indeed impossible for an embodied being to give up all activities, but he who renounces the fruits of action is called one who has truly renounced. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
It is indeed impossible for an embodied being to give up all activities, but he who renounces the fruits of action is called one who has truly renounced. So Krishna says to Arjuna that it is impossible for an embodied being. What is the meaning of embodied being? हिंदी में क्या लिखा है मायरी माता जी? विवर्तन क्या है?
देहधारी प्रभुजी. हरे कृष्ण प्रभुजी. देहधारी.
हाँ, देहधारी. तो उसका मतलब क्या है? What is the meaning of that?
Meanings like human being प्रभुजी.
हाँ जी.
किसी भी देहधारी प्राणी.
Yeah, that means we have
the body.
The body.
Yes, प्रभुजी.
We in the spiritual world, are we having these bodies separate from the soul?
No, Prabhuji.
The soul itself is the body, mind, intelligence, everything. There is no separate soul, separate body, Sthula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira. All these things are not there. So in the material world, we are embodied being. We wear the body, just like how we wear the shirt. Okay, the soul wears the body. That's why we are called embodied being. So for an embodied being, it is very difficult to give up the activities. So we cannot stay idle. Even if we don't do any activity, our mind will be working and will be taking breath, isn't it? Hare Krishna. So,
Hare Krishna Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji.
Danda Pranam, Mataji, Danda Pranam. Hare Krishna. So we'll be taking breath. That's also an activity. So we cannot sit idle even for a moment. Even for a moment, we will not be able to sit idle. That's why Krishna says that embodied being cannot give up activities. But he who renounces, but when we renounce the fruit of that activity, that is called renunciation. So it is said in Bhagavad Gita that one can never give up work at any time. Therefore, he who works for Krishna and does not enjoy the fruitive result, who offers everything to Krishna, is actually a renouncer. So we cannot stop working, but we can do this much. Whatever fruits that we are getting by working, that we have to offer it to Krishna. That's called a renunciation. That person is called renunciant. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yat karosi yad asnasi yad juhosi dadasi yat yat tapasya su kaunteya tat purusha madattu. Whatever you do, whatever offering or whatever you eat, whatever offering you do, whatever austerity you do, everything you do it as an offering unto me, Krishna says. Okay? But don't do it for our senses pleasure. Okay? We have to do it for the pleasure of the senses of the Supreme. Rishi Kena Rishi Kesha, Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyade. Okay? With our senses, we have to satisfy the senses of the Spirit, the Supreme Master, Rishi Kesha. That is the topmost bhakti. Instead of we try to enjoy our senses, the same activity we can dovetail for the pleasure of Krishna. Okay. Atmendriya Preeti Vancha means that is Kama. Krishnendriya Preeti Vancha means that is Prema. So from Kama to Prema, we have to make a shift. Okay. When we are doing the things, doing any activity for our pleasure, it is Atmendriya Preeti Vancha. Now we are doing it for the pleasure of our body and mind. The same activity we can dovetail for the pleasure of Krishna, that is Krishnendriya Preeti Vancha. So that becomes Prema. So from Kama to Prema, same activity. Every time I'm giving the example of the war, Kurukshetra war. Arjuna is fighting, Duryodhana is fighting. Both are fighting. For an onlooker, both are fighting. What's the difference? But why Duryodhana is fighting? What is his attitude? So that he can kill all the Pandavas and regain the kingdom and be the king. He wants to enjoy his senses. Whereas Arjuna is also fighting the same war, but he is fighting the war for the pleasure of Krishna, for the satisfaction of Krishna, not for his own sense gratification. So as per the instruction of Krishna, Arjuna is fighting the war, not for his sense gratification. So two different attitudes. So Arjuna is fighting the war is for the pleasure of Krishna, Krishnendriya Preeti Vancha. That is his desire, to please Krishna's desires. Duryodhana's fighting the war is for his own sense pleasure, Atmendriya Preeti Vancha. So any activity that we do, we should dovetail for the satisfaction of Krishna, then that's called renunciation. Such a person is a proper renunciant. So that's why it is said here, there are many members of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness who work very hard in their office or in the factory or some other place. And whatever they earn, they give to the society. So in the initial days, Prabhupada had so many disciples, American disciples, European disciples, Western disciples. They're all well educated materially. So whatever they earn, they give to Prabhupada for Hare Krishna movement, for propagating this Hare Krishna movement. So they are not keeping anything themselves. They're totally surrendered to the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada, their spiritual master, for the purpose of spreading Krishna consciousness, which will please Krishna. Okay. So they are not doing any activity for their own pleasure. They are doing all the activity. They are performing all their activities for the pleasure of Guru and Gauranga. Okay. So they are all renunciation. Although they may be working in office, They may be working in some factory, or they may be doing some business, but everything, for why they are doing everything, to be given to Prabhupada, so that this movement, and will grow, and Hare Krishna, they will be able to spread this Hare Krishna movement, make others connected to Krishna consciousness. So such highly elevated souls are actually sannyasis and are situated in the renounced order of life. They may not be really sannyasi in the external term. They may not be wearing the sannyasi robes or danda, but internally they are sannyasi because they are doing all the activities for the pleasure of Guru and Gauranga. They are totally in the renounced mood. So it is clearly outlined here how to renounce the fruits of work and for what purpose fruit should be renounced. So we should not whimsically renounce the fruit. We should renounce the fruits in such a way that it can be used in the service of Krishna. So that is what renunciation is. Just renouncing the fruit is not enough, but that should be used in the service of Krishna. That is renunciation. So usually jnanis, they will not involve in any activities, fearing that they will get entangled in this material world, because they may have to accrue the reactions of the activities they do. So to avoid that reactions, they will not indulge in any material activities. So that is their thought. But that's not enough. You do that job for the pleasure of Krishna, not running away, fearing that reactions will come and I have to suffer in this material world. So Yukta Vairagya, not Falgu Vairagya. So what is Falgu Vairagya? Falgu Vairagya means without knowing the value of that activity, okay, we are just renouncing that activity. But the same activity can be used in the service of the Lord. So why we should reject that activity? So that is Falgu Vairagya. You do that activity for the pleasure of Krishna. Okay. Any activity, we are working, we are going to office, earning money. That can also be dovetailed for the pleasure of Krishna. We earn money, we take care of our family, children's, the education expense, everything, whatever bare minimum necessities we have to meet with the money that we earn from office. The rest of the money should be used in devotional service. So that's called Yukta Vairagya. Don't use it for our, extravagant sense activities, sense pleasure. So any activity. Now, for example, somebody is a very good singer. What he or she should do? She should sing the glories of Krishna. She should sing the prarthanas of Vaishnava Acharyas to please Krishna, not film songs, not any kacheri for the pleasure of ordinary public. So that is material activity. The same ability, our singing ability, if we use to please Krishna by glorifying him, there are many poems or prarthana songs composed by Vaishnava Acharyas glorifying Krishna and his leelas with the devotees. So we can use that talent to glorify, so that becomes Krishna conscious activity, not ordinary activity. Suppose somebody is a good cook. Okay, don't cook bhoga and satisfy our senses. Cook bhoga for Krishna, offer it to Krishna, and partake as remnants of Krishna as prasadam. Same activity, isn't it? Somebody is a good speaker. Instead of speaking mundane things, speak Krishna Katha. Attract ordinary people to Krishna conscious activities. Transform them as devotees. So every activity can be dovetailed in the service of Krishna. We don't have to change anything. We don't have to change the ashrama. We don't have to stop any activity. So here it says giving up the fruit of action. So do everything for his pleasure, give the fruits to him, and by doing so, we are also getting nourished. It's not that we are deprived of any enjoyment. We are also getting enjoyment. Just like in Bhagavatam, it is said that by pouring water at the root of the tree, the whole tree gets nourishment. The branches, the twigs, the leaves, the flowers, the fruits, everything gets nourished, isn't it? Where we are pouring the water? At the root of the tree, not on branches or leaves or twigs and flowers. Similarly, when we satisfy the Supreme Master, the Supreme Lord, of whom we are the part and parcel, when we satisfy him, we are also getting satisfaction. Just like when Draupadi was in a very, what do you call, precarious condition, when Durvasa Muni came, there was no food. He came with so many thousands of disciples. So immediately she prayed for Krishna. Krishna appeared there, and Krishna just took a small particle of food that was left in that Akshay Patra. The Durvasa Muni, along with all his 60,000 disciples, got nourished. How is it possible? Isn't it? So it is possible for us also, when he is satisfied, his parts and parcel also get satisfaction. That's what Krishna says. So do it. Renounce the fruits. Don't do any activity expecting the fruits. Renounce it. You give it to me. Then he will take care of us. That's what this sloka means. So any questions or any comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, one guest came to home, so I would leave.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, Hare Krishna.
Okay, so any questions or any comments? Okay, then we'll move on to the next sloka, 12. Anishtam ishtamishram cha trividham karmana phalam bhavati atyaginam pretya natu sannyasinam kvachit. Anishtam ishtamishram cha trividham karmana phalam bhavati atyaginam pretya natu sannyasinam kvachit. Okay, Saraswati Mataji and Sachi Mataji.
अनिष्टम् इष्टं मिश्रं च त्रिविधं कर्मणा फलं भवति अत्यागिनां प्रेत्य न तु सन्न्यासिनां क्वचित्.
Hari Bol. Okay.
Krishna Prabhu. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. For one who is not renounced the threefold fruits of action, desirable, undesirable, and mixed, occur after death. But those who are in the renounced order of life have no such result to suffer or enjoy.
Very good. For one who is not renounced, the threefold fruits of action. What are the threefold of fruits of action? Desirable, undesirable, and mixed. Accrue after death. But those who are in the renounced order of life have no such result to suffer or enjoy. So, if you are not in the renounced order of life, or if you are not renouncing the fruits of action, okay, what will happen? The reactions will be accrued and it will be carried forward to the next life if it is not settled in this life. So whatever unsettled reactions will be carried forward to the next life or lives. So we will have to take birth again, material birth in this material world. But those who are in the renounced order of life have no such result to suffer or enjoy, because they are not doing any fruitive activity. They are not doing any sinful activity. They are doing activities on the platform of akarma. That means they are doing activity only for the pleasure of Krishna, not for the pleasure of their senses. So all their activities are on the platform of akarma. They are not doing any sinful activities, nor are they doing any fruitive activities. All their activities are just to please Krishna only. So they will not accrue any reactions, whether it is desirable, undesirable, or both. So a person in Krishna consciousness acting in knowledge of his relationship with Krishna, is always liberated. Therefore, he does not have to enjoy or suffer the results of his acts after death. So a person who is totally surrendered to Krishna, taken shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, they will not come back again in this material world to take another material body. They will be sent to the spiritual realm. Okay, Goloka Vrindavana or Vaikuntha, wherever. So in this material world, if they are on that platform, they are already liberated also. So after this particular life, they will not come back to take another birth in the womb of another mother. Panjayitani Mahabaho Karanani Nibodhame Sankhye Kritante Proktani Siddhaye Sarva Karmanam Panjayitani Mahabaho Karanani Nibodhame Sankhye Kritante Proktani Siddhaye Sarva Karmanam. Okay, Kamya, can you please read?
Panchaitani Mahabahu Karanani Nibodh me Shankhin Kritanti Pruktani Siddhaye Sarva Karmanam.
Very bold. Saraswati Mataji, translation please.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
O mighty armed Arjuna, according to the Vedanta, there are 5 causes for the accomplishment of all action. Now learn of these from me. Hare Krishna.
Very good. Krishna further says, O mighty armed Arjuna, according to the Vedanta, there are 5 causes for the accomplishment of all action. Now learn of this from me. So Krishna is telling Arjuna to accomplish any activity. There are 5 causes. Okay. Now learn it from me. So let's see what are those 5 causes. A question may be raised that since any activity performed must have some reaction, how is it that the person in Krishna consciousness does not suffer or enjoy the reactions of it? So people may ask, for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. So how is that Krishna conscious devotees are not having any reaction? They don't have to suffer. Why? The Lord is citing Vedanta philosophy to show how it is possible. So he is not even telling whimsically. He is also quoting Vedas. And the Lord doesn't have to, quote anything. Whatever he says, it is Vedas only. But still, just for the general mass, for them to believe, he is also quoting the Vedas. So that's why it said according to Vedanta. Okay. So he says that there are 5 causes for all activities, and for success in all activity, one should consider these 5 causes. Sankhya means the stock of knowledge. Vedanta is the final stock of knowledge accepted by all leading acharyas. Even Shankara accepts Vedanta Sutra as such. Therefore, such authority should be consulted. The ultimate control is invested in the super soul. As it is stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Sarvasya Chaham Riddhi Sannivishto. He is engaging everyone in certain activities by reminding him of his past action. And Krishna conscious acts done under his direction from within yield no reaction, either in this life or in the life after death. So any Krishna conscious activities will not bring any reaction, not only in this life, in the future lives also. Because the activity, the Krishna conscious devotees, whatever activities they are doing for the pleasure of Krishna. So any activities that we do for the pleasure of Krishna will not fetch any reactions, good or bad. Usually, in the normal way, whatever activity we do, if we are doing good activities, we will get good result. If you do bad activities, we will do bad result. Sinful activities, sinful result. We'll have to suffer, isn't it? And if you are doing pious activity, we'll have to enjoy. So for that purpose, we have to take another birth. So here, Krishna conscious person will not get any reaction, good or bad. That's what Krishna says. Now he says the 5 causes. Adhishtanam tatha karta karanam cha pratagvidam vividhascha pratak cheshta devam chaivatra panchamam. Okay. Adhishtanam tatha karta karanam cha pratagvidam vividhascha pratak cheshta devam chaivatra panchamam. Okay. Sachi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Adhishtanam tada karta karanam cha pratakvidham vividhascha pradakcheshta devam chaivatra panchamam.
Mayuri Mataji, translation please.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
The place of action, the body, the performer, the various senses, the many different kinds of endeavor, and ultimately the super soul. 3 are the 5 factors of action.
Very good. So Krishna is giving all the 5 causes that makes an activity complete. The place of action, that is the body, the performer, the self, the various senses like nose, eyes, skin, and ears, like that, all the senses. The many different kinds of endeavor or efforts. Without effort, it's not possible to complete any activity. And ultimately, the super soul who grants that activity. These are the 5 factors of action. So the body, the performer, the self, and the various senses, different kinds of endeavor, and ultimately the super soul. These are the 5 factors for completing any activity. The word adhishtanam refers to the body. The soul within the body is acting to bring about the results of activity and is therefore known as karta, the doer. Adhishtanam is body, and the performer is, that is the karta or the doer is, the soul within the body. That is, the soul is the knower and the doer is stated in the Shruti. Yeshahi drashta srashta. It is also confirmed in the Vedanta Sutra by the verses Nyota Eva and Karta Shastratha Vatvat. The instruments of actions are senses, and by the senses the soul acts in various ways. For each and every action, there's a different endeavor. But all one's activities depend on the will of the super soul, who is seated within the heart as a friend. Now, see, we have the body, and the soul decides to do a particular activity. The senses are there, okay, and what else? The endeavor is there, but the supreme sanction is not there. Will the activity will be completed? The sanction of the supreme is not there. All the 4 factors are intact. The 5th one, the Supreme Lord's sanction, is not there. Will the activity be completed successfully?
No, Prabhu, mercy of the Lord is first needed.
Yeah, the sanction of the Lord should be there. So the 4 causes, that is within, and that is from our side. The body, the self, the senses, the endeavor. That's from our side. But finally, who has to approve it? The Supreme Lord. Okay. So suppose I am planning to go to Mumbai from here. Okay. And I'm going to the agent to book a ticket, flight ticket. Okay. So I'm using the body. And who is deciding? The self. The self is deciding to go there. I am the doer. And then the senses. Okay. I am using all my senses to do this particular activity. I have money. I am going there. I am using my senses. I am putting on a lot of effort to do this ticket. And when I go there, now I want for a particular date, for example, 10th. The flight is not there. It's all booked. So my job is adhura, incomplete. Isn't it? Because the sanction of the Lord is not there. If that date is there, the required date, if I can book the ticket, the sanction is there. So whatever I may do, the 4 causes may be perfect. But then the 5th cause, that is the sanction of the Supreme, is not there, that activity will not be successfully completed. So that's, now let's see. The instruments of actions are the senses, and the senses, the soul acts in various ways. For each and every action, there's a different endeavor. But all one's activities depend on the will of the super soul, who is seated within the heart as a friend. So all this activity will be completed only when the super soul, who is seated within our heart, sarvasya chaham hridhi sannivishto. Okay, in the region of the heart, the super soul is seated in every living beings. So when he sanctions, it will be completed. The Supreme Lord is the super cause. Under these circumstances, he who is acting in Krishna consciousness under the direction of the super soul situated within the heart is naturally not bound by any activity. Those in complete Krishna consciousness are not ultimately responsible for their actions. So how can you say that? Those who are not, those who are in complete Krishna consciousness are not ultimately responsible for their actions. Why? See, I am initiating the action. I use my senses. I put in endeavor. Then the Lord sanctions. Suppose I am a Krishna conscious devotee, totally surrendered to Krishna. Here it says, I am not responsible for my action. How is it? Can anybody explain? Those in complete Krishna consciousness are not ultimately responsible for their actions. Yes, Satyamala, you want to explain?
Prabhuji, because we are acting according to the will of the Lord, actually. Because our aim is to please only the Supreme Lord, and it is not for our own sense gratifications. So we might not do wrong also, because the Paramatma within will guide us to do what we are supposed to do.
Okay. Can you give some example from our Shastra?
Nothing strikes me now, Prabhu. I don't know.
What we are reading now?
Bhagavad Gita only. Arjuna. He was not responsible for killing. So that's what Krishna said. Like, you're not responsible. You will
Okay.
not get the results of that.
Yeah, exactly the same. Arjuna is fighting, but is he responsible for the reaction? No. That's what we read in the earlier passage also, purport also. I mean, I didn't read it. Okay, I said that. Duryodhana and Arjuna. Comparison of fighting between Arjuna and Duryodhana. For Arjuna's fighting, he is not responsible. Krishna takes the responsibility. He is fighting on the instruction of Krishna, whereas Duryodhana's fighting, he has to take the responsibility and the reactions also. So that is what it means. Those in complete Krishna consciousness. So when we totally surrender to Krishna, we don't have to be afraid of anything. We have given the steering of our car, vehicle in Krishna's hand. Krishna is Parthasarathi. He is driving or riding our Ratha. Okay. We are just listening to his instruction and accordingly we are doing the activity. So why we have to be afraid of? Nothing. When the when the commander-in-chief of the military commands the soldiers to fight, who takes the responsibility? The soldiers? The commander-in-chief or the government, whoever has given the authority to fight, isn't it? Similarly, Krishna is telling Arjuna, fight. So why Arjuna should be afraid of? That he has to partake the sinful reaction. Initially, that was his doubt, his confusion. If I kill my own people, I will have to go to hell. I will have to suffer the sinful activities. But Krishna makes it clear. Whoever surrenders totally to Krishna's will, he will take care of them. He becomes a charioteer. He becomes a driver of their vehicle. They have to just do the activity as per his instruction. So for us also, we don't have to take any reaction if we are going according to the instruction given in Bhagavad Gita, our other scriptures. If we are going as per the instruction of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, we also need not take any reactions because we are not doing anything whimsically. It is just to please Guru and Gauranga we are doing. The same activity. Whatever activity we are doing, we don't have to change. We don't have to change the ashrama, but dovetail it for the pleasure of Krishna. That's what Krishna wants. Now, do Krishna conscious activities. Then you will not be bound in this material world. You will not have to suffer in this material world. That's what Krishna makes it very clear. So everything is dependent on the supreme will, the super soul, the supreme personality of Godhead. So any questions or any comments? If not, 15 will read. Shariravan manobhiryat karma prarabhadenara nyayam va viparitam va panchete tasya hetava. Shariravan manobhiryat karma prarabhadenara nyayam va viparitam va pancheta tasya hetava. Okay, Prince Prabhu and Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Shariravan manubhiryat karma prarabhate nara nyayam va viparitam va panchaite tasya hetava.
Very bold.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Translation: whatever right or wrong action a man performs by body, mind, or speech is caused by these 5 factors.
Very bold. Whatever right or wrong action a man performs by body, mind, and speech is caused by these 5 factors. Manasa, Vacha, Karmana. Isn't it? The activity we do by the body, okay, that is gross. Mind, mental activity. Speech by the tongue. Manasa, Vacha, Karmana. For all these, we need these 5 causes or 5 factors, which we already explained in the earlier verse. The words right and wrong are very significant in this verse. Right work is work done in terms of the prescribed directions of the scriptures, and wrong work is work done against the principles of the scriptural injunctions. But whatever is done requires these 5 factors for its complete performance. So right and wrong, that is, right is as given in the scriptures, okay, that is pious activity. Wrong, sinful activity, which are not enjoined in the scriptures. We go against the scriptures instruction. Whimsically, we do sinful activities. That's wrong. Whether it is right or wrong, for any activity, these 5 factors should be there, mandatory for completing the performance, completing the activity. It's again stressing that point. Tatraevam sadi kartaram atmanam kevalam tu yaha pasyadi agrita buddhitvan nasa pasyadi durmati. Tatraevam sadi kartaram atmanam kevalam tu yaha pasyadi agrita buddhitvan nasa pasyadi durmati. Kamya and Tarani Mataji.
तत्र विंशति कर्तारम् आत्मानं केवलं तु या पश्यत्य कृतबुद्धित्वान् न स पश्यति दुर्मतिः.
Very bold.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Therefore, one who thinks himself the only doer, not considering the 5 factors, is certainly not very intelligent and cannot see things as they are. Hare Krishna.
Amen. Therefore, one who thinks himself the only doer, not considering the 5 factors, is certainly not very intelligent and cannot see things as they are. No, they are fools. Durmadi. Suppose I say, I am the doer. Okay, you don't know me. Okay. Whatever I think or whatever I desire will happen. There are many people, isn't it? Me, I, me, and mine. I am everything. I can do anything and everything. People say like that. But is it true? It's not. Why? Because these 5 factors should be favorable. The body should be favorable. The senses should be favorable. Our endeavor should be favorable. And finally, the Supreme Lord sanction should be there, without which the activity will not be complete. So it is foolish to say that I am the doer. Yes, we initiate the activity for sure. We are part of it. We are part of the activity, but we are not the ultimate authority. We initiate, at least if you reduce it from the 5, at least 3 we should take that into consideration. One is we initiate as the self and the body, everything is complete, the senses, everything is. So let us take that complete as we. I initiate the activity. I use my body and senses. Okay. So that activity is initiated by me. And the circumstances, the modes of material nature, 3 modes of material nature, the situation or circumstances is the intermediate doer, and the ultimate doer is the super soul who sanctions that activity. So we can reduce this 5 to 3. They have given in detail 5, but me as a person who initiate that activity, the circumstances or the 3 modes of material nature, okay, the situation that brings in, and ultimately the sanctioner, the super soul. So when all the 3 comes together, then only the activity will be completed. So it is foolish to think that I myself am the doer. It is within me. You don't know me. I will do this, I will do that. I can show you. So this is called ahangar. Okay. We say so many things, but next second, what will happen to me? We don't know. We don't know whether we'll be living next second. Krishna may stop my breath. And he may stop my breathing. So it is, Krishna says that it is foolish to think that he is the doer. So a foolish person cannot understand that the super soul is sitting as a friend within and conducting his actions. Although the material causes are the place, the worker, the endeavor, and the senses, the final cause is the Supreme, the personality of Godhead. So as we have studied earlier, Krishna in the heart of every living entity is there as what? Upadrashta Anumanta. Upadrashta Anumanta cha, right? Upadrashta means witnessing all the activities that we are doing. And Anumanta is sanctioning the activities that we are doing. So as a Paramatma is doing this activity. When we are doing this activity as per our own whims, whimsically, without keeping Krishna in the center, for my own sense gratification. If I am doing the activity, he will do this only these 2 things. That is Upadrashta and Anumanda, witnessing and sanctioning. According to our yogyada, according to our eligibility, he may or he may not sanction. But if you are totally surrendered to Krishna, we are going according to his instruction. According to his instruction, in the sense not necessarily that he will come and instruct us personally as Bhagavan. He may instruct us through Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. He may instruct us from within, but we have to ensure that we are following the scriptures. We are not going against the scriptural injunction. So if you are going by that, definitely Krishna will see that we don't have to suffer or enjoy the reactions of the activity that we do. Only when we have to enjoy or suffer the reactions of the activity, we will have to take rebirth. We have to take another body. If the balance sheet is zero, no debit credit, then straight away to Golok. If there is any balance, whether it is debit or credit, then we'll have to come back. To credit means, let's say it is pious result. Debit means it is impious result. So to suffer or to enjoy, we may have to come back. So the balance sheet should be the nil. Balance should be zero. No credit, no debit, no pious result, no impious result. So in that case, we don't have to come back again. We don't have to take birth in the womb of another mother in this material world. We'll be eligible to go back home, back to Godhead. So that is as far as the pure devotees are concerned, those who have taken shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead completely. Those who even, I don't want to use my own intelligence. I want to surrender that intelligence also to Krishna. So that means the very, our senses, the very activity, not only I'm not just giving the fruits of my activity, the very activity itself, I'm giving to him. Isn't it? So that is Krishna consciousness. Not just the fruits of action, but the very activity itself is given to Krishna. I am doing the activity not for my pleasure, but for his pleasure. But sometimes what we do, okay, I will do the activity, whatever I like, and I will give the fruits to Krishna. I'm choosing, okay, I will do this activity, I will not do that activity. So there should not be any attachment nor aversion. I should not be choosing, okay, I like that job, I don't like this. I will do this work, I will not do this work. Whether I like or not, if it is instructed by Guru, if it is decided by Krishna, I should do it. Arjuna didn't want to fight. Isn't it? Arjuna in the beginning did not want to fight. Is that sense gratification or not? What was it? Arjuna in the beginning did not want to fight the war. Was it sense gratification or not?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, it was. But then later, after hearing Bhagavad Gita, what Arjuna says, whatever you say, I agree to that. I will do that. Karishye vachanam tava. Isn't it? So we have to come to that stage. Whatever activity we are doing it for the pleasure of Krishna. There is no activity, I don't want to do anything separate from Krishna. It's an open book. There is no separate, okay, this work is for my sense gratification and that work is for Krishna's satisfaction. Usually we do that now, presently. Okay. We do this part-time devotional service. Every Sunday, every Saturday, every Friday, 1 hour, 2 hours, or in the morning 1 hour or 2 hours, in the evening 2 hours. Rest of the time, I am doing for my own sense gratification. That will not work. That will not work. That way it will not work. So 24 hours, whatever we are doing, that we have to offer it to Krishna. We may be an engineer, a doctor, or an accountant, or a banker, or whatnot. We can do the same activity, but do it for Krishna. That's what Krishna wants. Then we are in the safe hands. So one who does not see the supreme thing, one who does not see the supreme thinks himself to be the doer. So if the person sees that there is no super soul or Bhagwan involved in the action, he thinks that he himself is the doer. He initiates the activity, and it is because of his energy, because of his power, influence, or knowledge, the activity is getting completed. He thinks himself like that. But in fact, it is not he alone. It is his endeavor. He initiates that, but the circumstances should favor. The three modes of material nature should be favorable, and the sanction of the Supreme Lord also should be there to complete any activity. That's what Lord Krishna says. Hare Krishna. So I will end here. Next week 17. So we started from 11. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubheva cha patitanam pavanebhyo वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय. श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. गुरु महाराज की जय. Go family. So please note, text 17 is next. Hare Krishna.